You're watching News at Prime. Let's get into this discussion now. The National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Shamila Batoy, is decrying what she says is a smear campaign against the NPA's senior employees. In an interview with News 24, Advocate Batoy reportedly says the denial of security clearance for Advocate Anton du Plessis is aimed at destabilizing and distracting the NPA from its work. Let's get some clarity now. Joining me for this conversation is NPA spokesperson, Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga. Advocate Mhaga, good evening to you and thank you for making the time.
Good evening, Tolly, and good evening to your viewers, and thanks for having us.
Let's begin with what people might be wondering tonight, trying to connect these two. So there is a refusal. Let's not call it a refusal.
A denial.
Advocate Anton du Plessis was denied security clearance by the State Security Agency. Let's equate that to political interference. Do the two correlate?
I think, Tolly, what is important first is to make the following points. One, that we appreciate and encourage fair, constructive, accurate, critical reporting on the work of the NPA. And the interest that is generated by the media in covering our work.
Yeah.
But what is disturbing and of concern to us, it's the inaccurate reporting, which the National Director believes is motivated by political campaigns of whatever. Let me then unpack it.
Okay.
If you look at the article from City Press, it says it was discovered that Advocate du Plessis has dual citizenship. One, that is false, inaccurate, because he disclosed this to the National Director and to the officer who was conducting the vetting. And the officer said this might be an issue. Secondly, it says he refused to revoke or relinquish the British citizenship, which makes it a dual citizenship, which is also inaccurate because that was never asked to him. Now, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when the NPA appeared before the Justice Portfolio Committee, this issue of a security clearance, in particular of Advocate du Plessis, was raised. And at that time, we are awaiting an outcome thereof. And when the outcome comes and is denied the security clearance, you've got this inaccurate reporting. How else can you not conclude that this is a coordinated attack on the senior leadership of the NPA in order to derail them from pursuing those responsible for corruption and state capture?
I have to be fair to City Press and state that they are not here to defend their work. And if you look at a follow-up reporting, because City Press and News 24 are from one stable, there's a follow-up report that now quotes your boss, Advocate Batoy, directly. And that follow-up story, it stems from, I guess, that City Press article. But she doesn't complain. She makes no complaint of inaccurate reporting. Instead, what she does is she uses the word controversial, and I'm putting it in inverted commas, controversial, to characterize what she says is a refusal of security clearances for her senior staff. Why would she use that kind of language?
Of importance, Tolly, is the fact that when you look at the minimum information security standards document, it says the person upon whose authority or the decision lies in granting or refusing the security clearance has a discretion or must treat each case on its own merit. When it comes to Advocate du Plessis, he discloses dual citizenship, but no adverse findings are made that his dual citizenship poses any risk to the work that he's been doing. From 1st of March 2021 up to date, he's been excellently, diligently discharging or performing essential functions, sitting in Menko and Exco, doing a diligent job in the NPA. And it came as a surprise to us that he was not granted this security clearance certificate. It is for that reason that the NDPP feels strongly that the only conclusion you can draw from the inaccurate reporting and the denial thereof would be that this is a coordinated attack on the NPA to derail us from pursuing those most responsible for corruption and state capture.
Here's a direct question. Who might be the political actors behind the so-called political interference?
I cannot sit here and point fingers at anyone, but you remember very well that this is not the first time that a national director's security clearance issue comes to light. Remember Mr. Nqasana's issue? That's what culminated to his departure from the position of national director. So you'd connect the dots.
And you understand the destabilizing factor for the country when the NPA is going to talk in this fashion, because that era, the understanding and what has been communicated by the authorities to the public is that it is a bygone era. What is happening now is the fixing not only of the NPA, but the broader law enforcement architecture. Are we back there right now to the era of political interference?
We hope that we are wrong so that we don't get back to that era. It is our hope. But we're saying that conclusion is inescapable given the circumstances under which now we are confronting.
Is Advocate Batoyi prepared to discuss this with the president? Because if there are allegations of political interference, the president is the head of state, and surely the NDPP is at liberty to discuss such matters with the president.
Well, let me first correct you. The national director did not use the word political interference. He says there is a politically motivated smear campaign to derail us. That's an unavoidable conclusion. Whether he's prepared to escalate the matter to the powers that be, he is in a better position to respond to that one. But as I sit here, I am defending a position that I'm saying is in conclusion that is inescapable.
Let's talk about another point that is made in the City Press article, where they say sensitive government information cannot be handled by a person with dual citizenship. And of course, they are quoting sources within, I guess, the SSA, where they would have obtained this information. Is that a reasonable point that is being made by the SSA, if indeed we are to believe the sources of City Press?
Let me first say I'm constrained in discussing the merits of the decision of the DG. However, given the fact that there are options of appealing within 60 days by the applicant who was denied security clearance certificate. However, it is important, Polly, to understand that from 1st of March 2021 up to date, we are talking about a person who is in a senior position in the NPA, who has posed no danger, no security risk whatsoever, nothing flagged up to date. All of a sudden, this person is denied a security clearance. Remember, there is no legal instrument in South African law, prescripts, that requires a Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions to have a top security clearance certificate.
Has it been explained to the NPA the delays in coming out with the results of these security clearances? It's taken 3 years, as you point out, dating back to 2021. We're sitting in 2024. It's only now that a conclusion has come out. Has it been explained why it's taking so long?
I guess they have a backlog, but I think they're also best placed to respond to that because we've been making several attempts to inquire as to what is stalling the process and what's delaying the issuing of or finalization of the applications of many of our members.
Does the Justice Department, which the NPA falls under, does it play any role when such instances come up where department to department, they would go to SSA and say, what's taking long with security clearances? If there is a denial, do they assist in appeals processes, for example?
In appeal processes, they do not get involved. Only the Minister of State Security gets involved when the applicant whose application has been denied decides to appeal within 60 days. The role of the Minister of Justice is not anywhere provided in the processes.
As things stand, how would you describe the relationship between the Minister of Justice and the head of the NPA? Because the current climate presumably does not make for a good relationship. Is the Minister of Justice, or perhaps let me phrase it differently, does the NPA head feel supported, adequately supported by her Justice Minister?
In the absence of evidence to the contrary, there is executive support from the cabinet member responsible for the administration of justice, that is Minister Mthunzi Mhaga. So the answer to your question is a big yes.
Final question to you, sir. The NPA has come in for huge criticism. There was an article penned by Anne Bernstein from the Center for Enterprise Development, and she decries the underperformance, poor performance, simply put, of the NPA, and she does say that you are in need of support and particularly technical skills. Are you able to take that criticism to heart and say, indeed, you have to jack up in certain instances?
You see, Toli, what's disturbing from that CDE report is that they went to great lengths in compiling that report without a single attempt to seek the view or a response from the NPA, and finalized it and published it, and that's not fair. To come to your question, it's not fair and it's misplaced. As we are sitting here, on sexual violence, we're sitting at over 90% conviction rate. On conduct crime, we are sitting at 93.6% in conviction rate. On specialized commercial crimes unit, we are sitting at over 80%. On state capture cases that have been referred to us, we have enrolled 37 matters. We have over
Not a single
200.
politician is sitting in
we
jail.
are sitting at over 207 authorized investigations. These things takes time. Have you ever heard of what they call starting drug tactics in some of the matters, where people changed lawyers, where they drag the matters? But we have now sensitized our prosecutors to invoke what we call Section 342 capital A to deal with unreasonable delay. You will see swift justice very soon. Just be patient with us.